So over the last few weeks, FTX has fully imploded. Sam Bankman-Fried, the supposed man of the people, is now going down in history as one of the most hated individuals to date.
The amount of good that you can do for the future of the world is really large.
It's so bad right now that people aren't even addressing his name as Sam Bankman-Fried anymore, but word on the street is that he has now transitioned into scam bankrupt fraud. With each passing day since the announcement that FTX would be collapsing, we've been getting even more conspiracies talking about how crazy the whole situation really was. So in this video, we're going to be diving even deeper into 5 of the most popular conspiracies, from outrageous to outright evil.
The guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world.
To kickstart the expose number 1, let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried not living all humbly as he had reported in the Nas Daily video. It was shown that he was a vegan, he was driving a Toyota Corolla, and he was living with roommates, all because, you know, he's a humble billionaire. He doesn't do that type of stuff. Well, it was reported on November 10th, 2022 that the billion-dollar company that was being run by, not Sam Bankman-Fried, scam bankrupt fraud. I gotta get used to his new name. It was shown that they were actually living in a very luxurious penthouse in the Bahamas where they were all romantically involved with one another. Scam fraud reported to have been living in a polycule, which is pretty much a polygamy relationship with multiple people in this luxury penthouse with 10 coworkers in the tax haven of the Bahamas. It was reported that people within this relationship were former coworkers from quantitative trading firms, others that he had met at MIT, his alma mater, and all other 10 people were paired up in just this weird romantic cycle. Now, I did a little bit more investigative work, and we're actually able to find the value of the property, which is looking to be at about $40 million. This is a 12,000 square foot unit, and here you can actually see just how crazy this penthouse actually was. I mean, look at this. This doesn't even look like real life. This looks like a full-on hotel resort. Look at the flooring. When they got those type of floors, you know they were living a pretty lavish life. I don't want to go too deep into the photos, like the bedrooms and stuff, because my mind, I want it to be pure, but boy, oh boy, was this whole situation just really weird. Now, if that wasn't suspicious, because I know there are people within this world that live a certain lifestyle, we ain't gonna judge out here. Now, this here was a little bit more interesting because it was confirmed that SBF was also on a drug called MSAM, which is a drug normally used to treat depression or Parkinson's, but used off-label, it could be a benefit to having extra focus and alertness. Now, crypto Twitter never fails, because upon doing more research, it was found out that MSAM, also known as Selagiline, might have butchered that name just a little bit, but it has fatal effects if eaten with meat. And they also point out that it is also linked to impulse control disorders such as pathological gambling and hypersexuality. Now, if you guys were wondering why Sam Bankman-Fried was a proclaimed vegan too, which it turns out that was also false, because there was literally like an egg carton right behind him in the refrigerator of the Nas Daily video. But it turns out he might have been a vegan, not because he cares so much about animals or he wants to have a better impact on the planet, but it's literally because he wanted to have more focus from using this type of drug where it had bad effects if he ate any type of other meats. So this is just another one of those reasons where it really ties into the whole matter of him trying to portray this character online for the people in order to raise more money for his Ponzi scheme, when in reality, he was just a weird dude living behind the scenes. With SBF living his life the way he is, that is another thing. You know, I'll give him that. You know, he wants to live that type of lifestyle. He wants to take certain kind of elements and drugs into his body and, you know, portray this character, whatever. But this is where things get even more interesting. This is where this line between, okay, he's a little weird, to, okay, this is just getting a little bit more crazier. He might not even just be a weird dude. He might just be a serious agent behind the scenes. This is because SBF's mother and father has had huge family ties within the deep government politics. If you didn't know, SBF's mother was a Stanford law professor going by the name of Barbara Fried and is also a co-founder of the left-wing PAC Mind the Gap. Mind the Gap is a left-wing super PAC dedicated to helping Democratic political candidates win elections, and this is the exact organization that SBF was helping his mom run. His father, Joseph Bankman, was also a tax scholar who was teaching at Stanford Law and was lobbying the Democratic politicians through charity and regulation-related projects with which he was involved with. So with the education that the parents of SBF has, we were able to see this really just run through the FTX corporate structure. Man, this corporate structure is lined up like it's a GPU card on a new computer. There are just so many different types of components, and I understand, you know, FTX is a more complicated type of company, and it's an exchange. It works in different jurisdictions, but being able to see how intricate and in-depth this corporate structure goes, it is assumed that right now his father had a big play in how it influenced and impacted the company. So what's the big deal? SBF's parents are rather successful. You know, they got a good education, they're donating to the political party of their choice. Why is that so bad? Well, the reason for this is because there are a lot of weird ties going in within the government. And if you guys ever ask the question, how come FTX did not get caught before? How come all of this is unraveling now when it's too late? It's because of his parents, it's because of his political ties, and where a lot of his money was getting donated. So it turns out that Sam was actually the second largest Democratic donor for this past year. It also turns out that he had graduated from MIT and he had created the business with Caroline Ellison, the daughter of the head of MIT Economics. Caroline Ellison was the daughter of the head of MIT Economics, where MIT also had the current head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, who's in charge of deciding which projects and which exchanges would be getting the backhand and which ones that would get spared from his reign of power. The way it ties in is that Gary Gensler also taught economics, and it turns out that the professor of economics at MIT was also the former boss of Gary Gensler, who is also connected because Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, was also the daughter of Glenn Ellison, who was dating Sam Bankman-Fried. So you just got all of these connections where no one wants to really step on each other's toes, and that leads to more corruption and manipulation. And guess what? Nobody right now is still in jail. No one within the government, not Gary Gensler, not this professor here, no one has gotten any type of justice, yet people are losing their money. And it seems like it's getting worse. There's more companies declaring bankruptcy just because of how much FTX has fallen. In my most recent update, I talked about the domino effect that we would see from the collapse of FTX, and this is exactly what is playing out now. It was also just reported that BlockFi has not only paused their withdrawals, but they are now headed to filing the Chapter 11 bankruptcy, similar to what FTX has also done. FTX wasn't created to be an exchange to just help out people. It wasn't an exchange created to help with leverage, derivatives, or whatever they were advertising, but they were initially given birth because they were able to fund Alameda Research. It was recently reported that Alameda Research was buying tokens ahead of the affiliated crypto exchange FTX before they said they would list them. If you guys were involved in the crypto space, there was something called the Coinbase effect, where pretty much before any crypto project was getting listed onto some of these top exchanges, it would get a pump. It's just no one knew when they would get listed onto some of these exchanges. If they had any inside information, if Alameda Research was getting told by Sam, like, hey, we're going to be listing up the Eagles dog water poop coin tomorrow, they would go ahead. Alameda Research would go ahead and buy a bunch of those tokens. It would get listed on FTX. The price of it would go up. They would then sell it, and they would continue to rinse and repeat that cycle until they made their profit. Is that legal? Well, if you did that within the stock market, I can almost guarantee that you would be behind bars for insider trading. It's also worth noting, back in November 2018 and 2019 of January, a small hedge fund called Alameda Research was raising debt from investors, promising high returns with no risk. By opening up this screenshot, you'll be able to see that they were offering 15% annualized fixed rate loans with no lockup. And they said that we can accept both fiat and crypto and can pay interest denominated in either, and we can take take on another 200 mil in capital and still achieve returns that beat traditional and crypto markets. This is really important to note because at this point, they stated they have no downside. We guarantee full payment, the principal and interest enforceable under US law and established by all parties' legal counsel. We are extremely confident we will be paid this amount. In the unlikely case where we lose more than 2% over a month, we will give all investors the opportunity to recall their funds and we will still guarantee full repayment. Now, if you guys have been following along on this channel, you'll know that anytime you hear the words that there is no risk, no downside, and a promise of high returns, please run for your life. That is a scam. That is simply a scam. There is no type of investment out here that is guaranteed to give you money. If anything has upside, it has risk. If that risk is small, then that upside is usually small. But if the upside is great, like they are saying, 15% annualized fixed rate lockup loans, you would have to imagine that there's got to be some type of risk. For me personally, under the Jung Encyclopedia, this is what I declare by definition sus behavior. Now, this theory here is probably one of the craziest because, as I mentioned earlier, SBF was one of the top donors for the Democrats, which eventually led to President Joe Biden being in office this year. According to this article here, it was shown that Scam Fraud had actually donated nearly $39 million to support the Dems. It was also reported, and he did state, that he was preparing to spend as much as $1 billion during the 2024 election cycle to keep the Democrats in the White House. Now, this theory here isn't yet fully confirmed or verified, but it looks like things are lining up towards this being more true. This pretty much dates us back to the start of the Ukraine war between Russia, where Congress was approved to send money to Ukraine, but Ukraine would go ahead and invest that money into FTX, and then FTX is moving that money back into the Democratic Party. We mentioned this in one of our previous market updates a few months back, but it was when Ukraine decided that they would be accepting donations within crypto. There was also a quote taken off the Ukraine Aid website from that time, and it stated, "Incredibly excited and humbled to be working with the Ministry of Digital Transformation of Ukraine, Everstake, and others to support crypto donations to Ukraine," said SBF. Look, it's unclear exactly how deep the rabbit hole goes, but let's talk about this. Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried's relationship that he has with mainstream media, because it was shown that New York Times came out with a piece, but there was zero type of evidence for any words involving fraud, Enron, crime, illiquid, stolen, hidden, criminal, backdoor, but he did get a mention that he's getting sleep. Now, luckily enough, there are still other truthful media outlets that are coming out with stories like CoinDesk, Bloomberg. I mean, they have actually been doing a decent job reporting the scandal and the criminal activity coming from Sam Bankman-Fried and the exchange FTX. What's really weird about all this is, though, Sam Bankman-Fried was just making a string of these really cryptic tweets. What started out with a tweet that just said, "What?" and then it started with saying, "What happened?" and then just a few hours later, he said, "What happened?" with the two EDs. And then now he's gone off the rails talking about how it's not legal advice, not financial advice. I'll get to what happened. This is the best of my knowledge. And, even up until 2 hours ago, here was the most recent tweets. He stated, my one goal is to do right by customers. I'm contributing what I can do to doing so. I'm meeting in person with regulators and working with the teams to do what we can for customers. And after that, investors. But first, customers. He states, my goal is to clean up and focus on transparencies and make customers whole. So there's actually a theory right now that Sam Bankman-Fried was deleting his tweets to offset his total tweet count, or also in order to distract the Twitter bot from everything he might be going through and trying to get rid of in terms of the evidence that could incriminate him in case things proceed to go to trial. Needless to say, whatever is going on within the crypto markets, especially with SBF, is definitely very strange. It's probably one of the most unique weeks to happen within the industry, where we're getting World War III trending right now on Twitter, and just a variety of different bad news still coming afloat. Now, I'm fully aware of the presence that I have on social media, and especially the voice that I have within the crypto markets, since we've been making a lot of content from the past 2 years. There's going to be a lot of narratives coming out, and I also want to make sure that you guys are fed the most accurate information. And this is why I'm saying a lot of this is still conspiracies. It's more borderline theories, but the major lesson is this. Out of the entire FTX debacle, we're going to be seeing narratives change, and we're going to be seeing a lot of perspectives getting distorted on the exact same information, but shown in different ways. I do think some of these theories that we talked about is, it's reaching just a little bit, but some of them I think are very valid. But either way, as consumers, we can't get so caught up in just trying to figure out the entire puzzle, because there are always going to be two sides to a story that we don't know of. I think the facts of this whole entire situation is that FTX was indeed a scam. I don't know if he thought his whole thing would never end and he could just keep it going afloat, but he knew. There's no way that he didn't know from all of this and seeing the information and the DMs and the tweets that are coming out and just the facts on paper. SBF was fully aware that he was scamming the people. To think that these people who have allowed others to lose money within these markets and they're still scot-free, they're still just living their life, that is the most frustrating and disappointing part about this entire situation. Regardless of whatever conspiracies are true or not, there is so much that needs to get fixed within this industry. And I do hope that if we get regulation, that the regulation is going to force the cuffs on the hands of these players who have led people to the demise, and ultimately the markets falling down more than we would ever expect. Ooh, this stuff really does fire me up, guys. And I don't even know. Yeah, your boy's not even coherent at this point because of the emotions that I'm feeling. To be honest, like, I try to stay pretty optimistic in these situations, but I'm really not. Like, I don't see some of these exchanges getting bailed out. I don't see them being able to recover, and I don't see other individuals getting their hard-earned money locked in there, and I just don't see people being able to recover it. If you're somehow able to escape, okay, just by any chance, please make sure you're protected, because I don't know how many other crypto exchanges are going to be affected. Watch my last video I posted. I go into full detail talking about the chance of what's going to happen with the crypto markets and some of the steps you need to take. But if you haven't done so already, I'm going to have a link down below in the description for the Ledger cold storage device. Pick one up as soon as possible, okay? We're just going to end it there. Guys, hopefully we have a better week. Stay protected, and I'll see y'all soon. Peace.